Hello, Salem, and welcome to CC Media Presents Our Community Matters. I'm your host, Clark Hilton. We're glad you're with us. We are into the darker days of winter, and with that comes the need for heightened awareness when walking and rolling to school for all ages and abilities, but especially kids. There's a program in the Salem-Keizer area that makes it their mission to advocate, educate, and engage on pedestrian, bike, and public transit safety. Safe Routes to School is a national public health program and is established in other parts of the state. Salem-Keizer's is relatively new, launching with a handful of pilot schools in 2020, and the outreach continues to grow, which is important because data has shown a rise in Oregon pedestrian deaths. Beth Schmidt is the coordinator of the program here, and she joins us to talk about the initiative to keep students safer. Welcome to our warm winter's living room here, Beth. It's great to have you.
Thank you, Clark. I'm happy to be here.
And honestly, before we get started, I need to be part of this club. You have some things here. I get a slap bracelet, right?
Yep. Now you're part of the team.
All right. And what's this about?
Welcome. You know what? If you've met me, and I've been at many schools, this is part of our incentives we'd hand out to a student. Just an easy slap bracelet. And as you might have remembered, when we were children, slap bracelets were pretty popular. So we've been handing these out for a little bit now. They're reflective. You know, a child could wear these. We talk about that it's fun, but it's also a tool. And so wearing something that's reflective and talking about how to be safe, it's a great way to segue and just tell the children about wearing reflective things and how to be lit up. And so it's just fun.
Awesome.
And practical.
Well, let's jump into this conversation. What is this program, Safe Routes to School? How does it work, and what do you teach?
All right. Safe Routes to School began in 2005. It was a federally funded program, and other schools and cities around Oregon had it before we did. But I like to think that we saved the best for last here in Salem-Keizer. And now we have an opportunity to really sort of see how other programs are run in Eugene, Portland, Beaverton, Hillsborough, Bend, LaGrande, Douglas County. All these places have been working their programs. And it's given me an opportunity to see what worked for them and how we can work with our students. Salem-Keizer Public Schools is the second largest school district in the state of Oregon. And this is a nice opportunity just so that we can engage. One of our 6 E's is engagement. And the opportunity that we have right now is to hold walking buses and bike buses, and those are in tandem with education. But my focus right now is education and engagement. That's what I can do to really focus. We have a small staff, but it's growing. And so getting the community involved. And do you know what a walking bus is?
No, I was hoping you could tell us.
People all wonder what a walking bus is. And really, it's just everybody gathering at a location and you walk together in a group to school. Like, maybe you get 50 people, I don't know. You all would walk together in a bus, right? Kind of together in a group. Same would be as a bike bus. You would all join at a location on your bicycles, ride your bicycles together. And it's just an opportunity to be active and social and engage and talk. It's one of my favorite things. It's an opportunity to really get to know everybody in your community and be social. Children like it because they can go be social. They oftentimes don't have a whole lot of time to be social at school. So they love that opportunity to get to go meet their friends and walk to school together. Those are very fun. But also, in PE, we teach pedestrian and bicycle safety. So one thing that would happen is they would get pedestrian safety education while they're in PE, and they would learn about, you know, making eye contact with the driver, how to cross the street, what do the laws say that's required for them, but also just how to be aware and not put their body in front of a car if they can't tell the driver's going to stop for them. That's number one. Children are very young, and their brains are developing rapidly, but we also want to give them the tools so that they know how to be safe. And crossing the street is one of the very important tools that we can help with. So then if you're on a walking bus, right, you can talk about the pedestrian safety education that they've gotten in the classroom in PE. So those things really help, you know, in tandem with one another to then put those tools into practice when they're on a walking bus. It's a fun opportunity to really make learning and safety a good time. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you for pointing out the part about crossing the street and some of the safety that gets involved with that. When I was growing up, I had a friend who would always tell me, well, we've got the right of way. I'm like, well, I understand that, but it doesn't matter if the car doesn't see me and still hits me.
Yeah.
You know, so
yes,
it's important.
We do talk about that. We educate them about what the law says. But, you know, you'll see this in everyone's different behavior. People believe what they want to believe, and they might not think that at an intersection where there is not a marked crosswalk that they don't have to stop for a pedestrian. So they don't stop. But in all actuality, the law says every intersection is a crosswalk, and the pedestrian does have the right of way. However, that just doesn't always happen. And so I can't teach students that they're like immortal, you know? No, you need to step out and approach and look both ways and make eye contact. And if they don't stop for you, do not put your body in front of a car. Yeah. We want you to be here with us. We want you to be safe with us. And so just wait. I ask them to count to 10 and let the car go. Yeah. It's that easy. And you're just giving them tools so that hopefully they hear me in their mind or their PE teacher and they learn, oh yeah, okay, I need to stop. I need to make eye contact. Did I get a signal? Okay. And just giving them, and then we practice it. And I know that those seem like things that are obvious, but the issue is they're not always put into place. And a student doesn't always know. And sometimes a student has to walk to and from school because they don't have other options. So maybe they haven't been given that opportunity. This is just a simple way to make it fun and give them the tools so that they can get about their world safely.
Sure, sure. Well, Safe Routes to School has the 6 E's that guide their work. You mentioned one of them, engagement. Can you talk about the others and their importance?
Yeah, education is also part. So you're talking about going and really putting that into the classroom and doing the pedestrian bicycle safety education. We also do a little something with public transportation that we're going to talk about. Those are really essential. In my mind, I like to say, this is another E, but this is just important to me. I think exposure is something that's really important that's not talked about enough. If a child is just driven to school and dropped off in front of the school and that's it, they weren't sure, what was my route? How did I get there? You know, would they know how to walk somewhere or ride a bike or take public transit? If those aren't their options and they haven't been given that exposure or opportunity to learn, right, then our education is just a part of that helps them to learn how to be multimodal and independent. So that's a really important part, I think, of education. Another is engineering. That's also vital. Part of Safe Routes to School is both infrastructure and education. We're talking about money that the federal government provides, like to ODOT, Oregon Department of Transportation, and they have construction grants that help to fix the infrastructure, right? We're talking about added crosswalks, you could have rapid flashing beacons, there's many, many things within transportation that could improve the safety of our students getting in and out of the building. And so engineering is important. We have equity, which is also highly important. We work really hard within our program to make sure it is equitable. We have certain areas of Salem that have higher rates of, pedestrian and bike crashes. And so when you're highlighting the areas you're going to look specifically at infrastructure and how it impacts those community members. Are there lights? Are there marked crosswalks? Looking at that really closely to say, is it safe? And a lot of times you're going to find areas that have neighborhoods that are poor, and it isn't equitable, right? So you have other areas that have maybe more sidewalks and they have street lights, and it's provided more safety. So those are things that have to be looked at within equitability. But we go to those schools and we really help to work with education and handing out helmets or things that we can provide so that they can get to and from school safely, and then teach them how to really use, maybe they don't have sidewalks, but we teach them how they walk along the road, because there's a lot of neighborhoods that don't have sidewalks in Salem-Keizer. So, and then the next one is encouragement. So we're really also working to help them be multimodal and have less cars on the road. We're encouraging walking buses and bike buses. And then evaluation, that's also important. And that's a really big part. I often, forget about it because I've only been in this job for 2 years. I guess I should evaluate my own self. But, when you're looking at your infrastructure and what's happening with the data, you really should be looking at it and evaluating in a way to say, okay, we've had this pedestrian hit in this crosswalk here. We've already had 2 students hit in the crosswalk here in Salem. Yeah. And evaluating it and saying, what's wrong with that intersection? Why is this happening? And really looking at it, can enforcement help, during the school time in a school zone? What can take place? How can we improve it so that students can be safe? So that's part of evaluation. I think I said them all, didn't I?
I think
so many sometimes. 6. There's only 6, but I get really excited about all of them.
Yeah. So besides keeping kids safe, what are some additional benefits of this program? It's a really beautiful time in our community. And I'm very fortunate to have such supportive partners. Salem-Keizer Public Schools is my main partner, obviously. And I work with a lot of really amazing people in administration and teachers. PE teachers are really they're carrying the load and they got to deal with me. But they really are. They get the curriculum. They go and they teach our students. They're the ones that kind of hold that power. They see their students if they're out and they're providing before and after duty. So they're seeing how children are picked up or dropped off from school, and they're seeing who's walking and who's riding a bike and are they being safe. And that's a lot of feedback that I do get from schools or, oh, this child did this or that. But I'm like, okay, how can we fix that? And really looking at it. But everybody who's in the community, from law enforcement to Salem Health to the city of Salem, the city of Keizer, I've been very fortunate. Cycle Oregon, Salem-Keizer NAACP, these community partners all have an investment in what we're doing because they don't want to see our students be hurt. Chariots, I couldn't be more proud of the involvement with my community partners. I'm really proud of that. So it's an opportunity for us to all get involved and educate and just be role models and show students and adults how to really put into practice so we can all be safe. And, we're probably going to talk about some statistics, and we've broken our record here in Salem for traffic fatalities. And so that's a conversation everybody should be having, because I feel like everybody holds a part of that. We all can take responsibility in that. Yeah. What grade levels do you specifically target at the schools then? Currently,
I work with kindergarten through 5th grade. I like to kind of bring in some high school. That's going to take me a while. Safe Routes to School is kindergarten through 12th grade, but there need to be 5 more coordinators with this program, with the size of school district that we are. We have 65 schools, and I haven't even been to all 42 elementary schools. So that's a challenge, Yeah. A lot of times we focus on Title I schools because federal money, grant money, will have an emphasis so that we are equitable to those Title I schools. And but really right now, it's if principals are asking me, they're wanting it, right? It's within their capacity. And then I go and I work with them. And so that's really where I am right now. I can't just cold call them and say, hey, do you want to do Safe Routes? It's within their capacity. So they contact me and I work a lot with them. And so we're working with a lot of schools, but the high school students I'm really hopeful for. I just kind of I'm trying to work it in there. So maybe they could come on walking buses they have before. And it's an opportunity for me to then talk to those students about being safe. Because when you really get to the reality of it, right? Children who are older have an expectation to walk and get themselves to school. Parents have been working for that whole time to make sure their child got to school. And then, you're cut loose, you're free, you got to get yourself to school. Yeah. But the issue is maybe they haven't had those educational opportunities to learn about pedestrian or bicycle safety. So I would, of course, love to engage more. I'm working at that, so I can seem cool and hip, with the middle schoolers and high schoolers.
You got to have slap bracelets.
I know, I'm telling you. But they're the ones who've been hit by cars.
Yeah.
As a middle schooler and a high schooler.
Well, I live close to Sprague High School, and when I'm taking my daughter to elementary school, I'll drive her there. It has worried me a few times when you can see there's places on Kubler that do not have sidewalks, and they're just walking basically in the
ditch. Yeah, alongside the way. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. But you know what? You really need to think about it in the way that, yeah, that seems unsafe, but the conversation needs to also lie in, why aren't there sidewalks there? Right? People who live in a community like that have every right to say, what are we doing? And why are we building an infrastructure that supports students to be able to get to school safely, and our community to be able to walk and ride their bike and move about Salem and Keizer freely, not by a car? That's the very nature of Safe Routes to School, is less cars on the road and promoting multi-mobility. You want to be able to take the bus and put your bike on the bus and go about your world without the dependence of a car. So I hear you on that, but we have a little ways to go here in our community. If you looked at other cities, they're scored. I don't know if you know this, but they're scored. And they're scored by their ability to, walk, and what's walkability and bike, and is the infrastructure support that? And so we saved the best for last. Remember, I told you, Salem-Keizer, we're not scored very well. So if you compared us to like Eugene, Portland, even Corvallis, they are scored higher than we are.
I've lived in Eugene for years. They do have a lot better infrastructure in that way, yeah.
So
For now.
But exactly. We're going to work on changing that.
Yeah.
Another thing is, like, I would like to invite people to the capital city. It's the capital.
Yeah.
We want people to come here and visit and be tourists and come enjoy it. It's beautiful here. But it's unfortunate that we have broken that record with traffic fatalities, because it seems not so safe.
Yeah.
So how do you change that? How do you have that conversation? What are we doing as a community to better that?
Well, it sounds like the school district, Salem-Keizer Public Schools, has been really behind this. How can interested parents get this program in their child's particular school? So a parent who's watching this or listening to it on the radio, how would they do that?
I would absolutely love it. I'm trying to work and go talk at parent clubs at schools to invite them more. I'm really proud of the fact that we're doing a bicycle fleet. I told you I just left that to come here. And I have my first parent volunteer at the bicycle fleet. And so I'm just really proud of that, because, coming and learning and watching your child learn how to ride a bike in PE, I really didn't want to steal that joy from them, right? But a lot of people don't have a bike, and they don't, where are they going to ride the bike? So parents ideally could just let their principal know or their parent club know, and then they could, email me or call me. It's easy. We make it pretty accessible. But I think the biggest thing would to ask a principal, and then we can do that.
You asked me about bicycles when you came in, if I rode a bike, and then I see this one, sitting right here next to my chair. I wonder if you're trying to make a point with me here.
No. Okay. I just am really excited about this. These are a balance bike that we use. Cycle Oregon is a part of our technical assistance team with Oregon Safe Routes to School. You've heard of them, huh? And so they're part of this team that helps, and they provide the bike fleet. So they bring the bikes and the helmets and everything that you would need to then implement that curriculum for bicycle safety education. This is one of their bikes that we are using currently to pilot Learn to Ride. It's for kindergartners to second graders, and you would start to ride a bike on a balance bike. It doesn't have pedals. We do not use training wheels. It's just a real easy way to learn how to balance your bike. And then once you've gotten that, it's real easy to put the pedals on. So they would go to the next bike and they would try it with pedals, and then it's a breeze. So yes, I wanted you to see a balance bike and to kind of have an idea of what we're doing. Children get very excited when they get to come to PE and they see they have bikes.
I bet.
And it, one of the most amazing things was that it increased attendance.
Really?
Yes. So when we first piloted in the spring, we piloted bicycle safety with 3rd through 5th graders at Chavez Elementary, Harrod Elementary, and Morningside. And I'd never done anything like that, but I never had a job like this. So everything I basically do is like, well, I'll never know until I try. And that's my attitude. And it really changed my life. I didn't have an opportunity like that as a child to go to PE. But this has been amazing, right? So a child could come and they like see there's bikes in PE, you know. A lot of children had never even been on a bike before. And so they would tell me that they were sorry, that they didn't have a bike, that they didn't know how to ride a bike. And that's okay. We're here now. You get to have fun. So then more kids were more excited. And then they started coming to school. And then I started noticing, I was like, oh, there's more. They're coming. And so at Chavez, they were able to really see how that affected the attendance. And so their chronic absent students were then coming to school. And the bikes brought them to school. And it gave them something to look forward to and that sort of sense of belonging, that it was fun and at school. And they really did phenomenal. I think that we taught at least over 165 children how to ride a bike in the spring.
Oh, that is really cool.
And remember, 3rd through 5th grade is challenging. You're older and you're amongst your peers. And that can be stressful and really scary. But those students were all amazing. They cheered for one another. I never had an issue where a child said something in a mean way. They all supported each other. They all were so excited when another student learned to ride a bike. And so I love it. I'm super excited about it. And we're going to do 6 schools this year with that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we've talked about walking and biking. I want to, and in the walking part, the walking buses, but I wanted to also talk to you about chariots. So I know that they're incorporated into Safe Routes to School as well, but what's that about?
So they're one of my partners.
Okay.
And they have been marvelous in the way that, you know, they also value how students are getting to and from school. Salem-Keizer public schools are free to ride chariots if you're 18 or younger. So it helps support our students get to school safely. And so part of that, what we're doing is what I like to call a mobile classroom. And in an effort to talk about those students who are older and they're sort of earning their own independence, we taught 4th and 5th graders. We took a bus to their school, and then they got to learn how to get on and off the bus. How much did it cost? What was the etiquette? Like the basic tools on how to use the bus. We actually had a bike so that the students could learn how to put that bike on the rack and take it off.
Helpful skill.
Right. I didn't even know until those are great opportunities, because if you don't know, sometimes you're just not willing to try, right? And so having that exposure is really important. If they have been driven to school and dropped off and they didn't know about how to ride a bus, right? This is an opportunity to empower them to feel like, hey, I could be independent and I can move about my world. That's my greatest wish, is that we can teach children that they're not stuck because they don't have a car. There are other ways that you can move about your world safely and have fun. But Chariots is a wonderful support in that. So they bring the bus and they bring an operator, and then the students learn how to get on the bus and sit down and what's expected, and then go for a ride. And a lot of times the teachers have never been on a bus. Sometimes it's exposure for everybody. It's an opportunity. So we got to ride around at Washington in the spring. That was entertaining. And so I'm really looking forward to doing some more of that this year. And we're going to focus on 5th grade, because those students, hopefully maybe in middle school, will have that independence. And they'll feel comfortable, like, how do I take the bus? How much does it cost? Oh, I'm free, just those simple things. Just that little exposure to something is what can help make a student feel empowered.
Sounds like such a great program.
Thank you.
What's your marker for success as it continues to grow in Salem-Keizer?
I mean, I wish I had a way to measure something. I think you're asking me, really, how am I going to measure that? And I think right now the greatest thing is, do I have more schools? And are there more principals that like to take part in it? And people who are really excited about it and they want to engage. They want to go and have their own walking buses at their schools, which would be essentially what we would do over time. I do have one school that has a dedicated parent that's doing it, and I love it so much. And they meet every week, and it's fun just to see the students, because if you do it regularly, I know it's raining. It's going to rain here. Yeah. It does do that. But you're giving them an opportunity to really like say, okay, it rains, but how do we move about our world? How do we do that independently? And so, yeah, we have umbrellas, or we could wear coats or rain jackets. And then you're still teaching them how to be safe crossing the street and in the rain and what to do. And I swear to you, they don't even notice the rain. I don't even think they see it. They're just so happy to be together and go do this activity. And then by the time they've gotten to school, their brains are ready for school. It increases attendance. It increases academic scores. So the more, I suppose, we have of walking buses and bike buses and engagement like that would definitely fill my heart with joy. And we got to get our own bike fleet this next year and be able to teach more bicycle safety. Those would be my greatest wishes. Also, improving the infrastructure. Yeah. We need to do that around here so that we can continue to do the other things.
I got to say, though, for a program that started in 2020, during COVID, which had to have created a whole bunch of other challenges, it seems like it's come a long way.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my hard work from 2022 to now. But, I didn't do it alone.
Yeah.
I've had superintendents who were so excited and supportive to me and come to, events and support me, and principals who were so happy that we were talking about the drop-off and pickup line. There are hundreds of hours that are spent for principals. And it's
I've
not
spent time in those pickup lines,
yes,
I know.
It's not just Salem-Keizer, it's everywhere. And you're seeing it all over on social media. People, they wait an hour in line before their student is out of school so they can just drive up and pick up their child. So,
and sometimes even to drop them off, which creates some other traffic hazards I've noticed at times too.
Right.
So, yeah.
And you're talking about all these cars on the road, right, and all the emissions. And it's too much. And so many people ask me, when did this all start? When did this become so bad that everybody was dropping their child off? And, I was a kid in the 80s, and I walked or took the bus if it was too far away. I did walk in the snow, just FYI.
Me too.
I grew up in Northeast Oregon. So I don't have a definitive answer, I remember when I first started teaching pedestrian safety, I'd have children tell me, well, I can't because kidnappers. And I was like, okay. And so I'll be like, all right, we're going to talk about that, right? And they did build that into the curriculum to talk about it with students, and we should, right? Just like it's another tool to help them to know what to do. And so we do, you can talk about it. They call them tricky people. So you're talking to the students about that. That's just one thing. It's a hurdle. It's a barrier, right, to get past to be able to help our students learn how to get to and from school safely, or to the park or to the library. These are tools to help them to grow up so they can live their lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I have a really good time.
Good. Well, before we go, I want to talk a little bit about being safe during the winter months when we have to leave this cozy living room we're in here. It gets dark early. What are some tips for staying safe and staying visible right now?
Well, I am wearing a black jacket and a bright shirt. And if it's dark, you could imagine you're not going to see somebody wearing dark clothing very well. So think about what you have around you and then put that into practice. We have some reflective items here, and I talk about, putting them on your body. If you're able to wear reflective gear, that's a vest, and you could wear it if you're out walking. I like a slap bracelet. You could kind of put it around your bag if you didn't have it on you. And the same with this. But one of the easiest things I do like to is a light. I tell people, most people have a smartphone. If you had a smartphone, just turn on your light and shine the light and walk, because that might be the one thing that a car is going to see, a light moving, and as they get closer to you, that might be the one thing that saves you, because you were a light moving and they couldn't quite decipher or make out what that was. So bright colors, reflective, lights, anything you could think of. And that's really hard. I have a black coat on right now. I get it. Not everybody has bright, reflective things. Just thinking about those little things that can help keep you alive. And also, if you're a driver, being aware, looking for something. It's hard to anticipate it if someone's walking somewhere and you don't expect them to be there.
Yeah.
But we don't have sidewalks everywhere. So being mindful and aware, oh, people are moving about, slow down a little bit. Take caution. Just those little things that we can do in this community right now, because I don't want any more traffic fatalities.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see everybody take a part in our community and just being kind to one another.
Well, I so appreciate your time today, Beth. It is great to have you here, and hope this program continues to thrive.
Thank you.
And expand.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Salem-Keizer Safe Routes to School advocates for safer streets, teaches pedestrian, bike, and public transit safety in schools, and models safety through community engagement while raising awareness. Visit their website, sksaferoutes.org, or contact Beth directly for resources and more information about introducing the program in your child's school. Be safe. Watch out for people, especially kids, walking and riding on our streets. And remember, our community matters. We will see you next time.